Welcome, and thank you for listening to Birth Her, the podcast with Robin Robbins, the midwife, where we have real, raw, and uncut conversations about life and transforming negative experiences. If you're on a journey to birthing the highest version of you, join us as we are empowered to take inspired action to heal, activate inner liberation, and birth her to birth your new. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to our season finale. Season 2 is coming to an end, and I'm super excited to be ending it with a huge bang. Welcome back. It's your illustrious, vivacious host, Robin Robbins. And today we have a special guest that's going to help me, help you, help us, all right, with a real, raw, and uncut conversation. Coach Alonda Brooks is a multipreneur. She is the mother of 3 beautiful children who are also young entrepreneurs. She helps her clients leap into their becoming and become the total package. She is also the host of an award-winning podcast, I Am Becoming, where she provides practical tips and shows you can literally become from any level of life. Y'all, welcome, Coach Alonda.
Hey, I'm super excited to be here.
Hey, girl. Listen, you
Hey,
look
girl. Hey.
gorgeous.
Thank
And that's on
you.
period. Okay.
Yes.
So talk to us a little bit, Coach Alonda, about who you are. Like, give us, I love to introduce everybody, but I always want to hear it, from the person, from your heart to ours. Who is Coach Alonda?
So, Coach Alonda is the youngest of 4 children and the only girl. I'm a mom of 3 amazing children. I'm your sister, your friend, your church member. I'm just a regular, smegular girl who God has called to do some amazing things. And I'm passionate about people. I have 22 years in the game as a cosmetologist. As you said, I'm a multipreneur, I'm a coach, a consultant. Um, that's just a little bit about me. I'm an award winning author, I'm a publisher. So I'd wear many, many hats, but I'm just a regular, everyday person who is passionate about helping people become and walk in their purpose.
Yes. So I love that. Let's jump into that. What does it mean to become?
Becoming is your birthright. Like it is literally your, whether you accept the call or you don't, you're gonna walk in your purpose no matter what. So becoming is just basically a movement that I kind of started. Like I am becoming is basically being patient with yourself and telling people like, listen, I know that I'm a work unfinished. Be patient with me, but allow me to be real with you. Allow me my wobbles in the road as I'm getting my bearings. Allow me to show you and be vulnerable with you as I become.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Who becoming is our birthright. That was good to me right there, you guys. For those of you who can, you may want to grab pen and paper because it's going to get thick up in here in a minute. All right. So just get ready if you can. Um, Coach Alonda, one thing that I absolutely love about watching you is, the grace in which you maneuver. You know, it's
Oh,
kind of like you see me, you don't see me, but you see me. If I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's kind
yes.
of like sneaky oil, if you will.
That's
You know what I
funny.
mean?
That is
Yes,
so funny, yes.
but it's
Because we
so
was just
you.
talking about that. Yeah, and I think what it is it's just for me it's like I want to help people, but I want you to see Christ in me, not just me. It's not about me. And I'm becoming, like, I'm flawed, you know what I'm saying? I've mastered some things, but I'm not the master. You know what I'm
Come
saying? So
on.
I feel like I want people to be inspired, and that's it. I don't want to be your measure. I don't want you to measure your success by me, but I want you to be empowered. I want to inspire. I want to uplift. I want you to know that you literally can jump any hurdle that comes your way. Like, I want you to know, for me, that you are more than a victim. You are a victor. And so
Mm,
for me, it's kind of like, I want to put a little nibble out there for you, so you could be like, listen, I could, if she's doing it, I could do it. But then,
yeah,
also too, I don't want it to come across as arrogance or cocky, like, oh, she went in every season, because that's just not real life. Like,
it's not.
some the wins are hard, y'all, sometimes, and they're labored, you know what I'm saying? So um sometimes when you see me retreat out to scene, it's like really just doing the background work. Sometimes for the major productions that y'all see out front, it's a lot. Listen, it's a lot of harvesting that has to go. It's a lot of tilling of that land before you reap that harvest. You know what I mean? So it's a lot that goes into that ground before it produces that fruit.
Absolutely, absolutely. I want to dig into your story a little bit more. What helped Coach Alonda become? What's Coach Alonda's becoming story?
So, my story is, again, like I stated, I'm the only female in my family. So growing up in a male dominated family sometimes is really rough.
Mhm.
So, I've always been different. And I think that, if you have any spirituality about your life, you kind of know that, about the call of God on your life. And I felt like, even before I knew who God really was for myself,
Mhm.
I always could hear his voice, and I knew that there was something different about me. I knew that there was something. I just always went everywhere the unconventional way. Like, it would be like, man, like, she just can't go the way everybody else, because it just wasn't what I felt was for me. So
Mhm.
what becoming looks like is, I am, the survivor of, an emotional domestic abuse relationship, because I was married to an addict for 14 years. So, even in that, like, it was just like, I'm not gonna let this define who I am. I'm still gonna walk in my purpose. And I feel like a huge part of that was, sometimes being scared to be as bold as I felt like God called me to be. So I feel like you wind up in situations, that you're kind of trying to play small, or you're just trying to be quiet in your purpose, because you know that the rest of the world may not be able to handle that, because it's much. And so, once I got in that situation, though, I was like, I don't have to stay in a mistake. And, I'm going to make the best of it. I'm going to be loyal to my situation. I'm going to learn what I need to learn from it, but I'm going to make sure that when I get up from here, that I'm going to make sure that people know that I'm not going to die in this, and that when I'm going to get up, and I'm going to be powerful, and I'm going to do everything that God called me to do initially, that I delayed. And when that bus comes back around for me, I'm going to be ready, because I'm training, I'm mentally preparing, I'm physically preparing, and I'm going to be in position.
Yes. Oh my gosh, you said so much. That was so loaded. Oh man, that was so loaded. I felt that thing. That whole, it was several points, but I want to start with this one when you was talking about, you know, the having to deal with kind of like being quiet. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Or like lessening what you do or how much you put out, you
Hmm.
know, just because it may be a bit much for others, but you know this is your portion. And I think for
Yeah.
me, one of the reasons why that resonated so much with me is because that is a daily struggle for me.
Hmm.
A daily struggle for me. And so that thing hit me in my heart and in my stomach. It was like whoop whoop, you
Yeah.
know. But it's a thing that we really do get caught up in for various reasons. Everyone, has their reasons as to why. they find themselves doing that or finding themselves, pulling back or whatever the case may be. But it's definitely something that, a lot of us experience, especially those of us that are called to do things in a unique way, in a trailblazing way, in a
Mhm.
way that others haven't done it, before. Or if we are called to be like, challengers and disruptors, right? I'm kind of
Yeah.
like a little bit of both. And so I tend to ruffle a lot of feathers, and that has been one
Mhm.
of my fights.
Yeah.
So you being transparent to shed light on that, first of all, kudos to you. And I hope
Thank
y'all
you.
heard that. And I hope y'all get free. I hope y'all get free, right? As I get
Yeah.
free, that type of thing. But
Mhm.
then you was talking about in the situation that you went through, the situation that shaped you, the situation that cultivated you in terms of your becoming, which was being married to an addict for 14 years. You kind of you hit it, but you kind of punched it quick. I
Yeah.
kind of I need we gotta lean into that because that's so loaded. That's
Mhm.
so loaded. Yes, you came out of it, and this is what this podcast is about.
Mhm.
There's so many stories and stuff that we've had the opportunity to hear, and we be like, wow, that's powerful. But we always kind of hear where they start and hear where they ended up, and we never get that middle part like that. And in terms of which I feel personally is the meat that really helps people to overcome and to birth and all of that. And I know you can't give it all, during this podcast, but if you could give us three things specifically that you did during that marriage to come out of that thing the way you was able to come out of it, I believe that would be very impactful and powerful for us listening.
Yeah, so I mean, anything you want to ask me about that, I'm definitely open and to share about that. It is also in my book. I talk about it a lot about in my book, but for sure. So one of the major things that I did was I really feel like that was when I really became a Christian because the I always say that his struggle, I was always a casualty of the war that he had going on with himself. I don't feel like he did anything to me particularly. I felt like God had me in that situation and he was guiding me the whole time. Like, listen, hear my voice. Don't, I'm not going to leave you in this, but you put yourself in this. And so I had to face me. I went through counseling. I went to a small group that helped me to realize where there was some cracks in my own foundation that led me to choose a partner like that. And I learned how to really love him unconditionally. And that was why I didn't end up in jail because it was some times where it got real gangster in that thing that it was like, listen, sir, I could have easily been a wife, kid, cars, and everything else because it got real, 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 real. So, but the major thing I felt like it did was it helped me to really to intercede for him, but beyond him as my husband, it helped me to intercede for him as a person, and it helped me to separate the man from the addiction, as well as it helped me to heal and grow that little girl in me.
Mhm.
Um and so it was a lonely journey though, because it was a lot of things that I could not discuss in honor of the position that I had to play as a wife, as a godly wife. And so that's why I say I really became a Christian, because there were a lot of times where there was no one that I could talk to but God. Because people was like, listen, this what y'all got going on is a lot. You know what I mean? And in order to not make other people feel uncomfortable with all the intricate details and the pieces of
Mhm.
what we were dealing with, to just even have some type of normalcy of life,
Mhm.
it wasn't like I was secretive or anything about it, but it was
Mhm.
just like traumatic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but what it also caused me to do was to pursue my purpose so much more, because I also realized that entering into that relationship, when I began to deal with myself and
Mm-hmm.
see the cracks in myself, it helped
Mm-hmm.
me to really start affirming my inner girl and really
Mm-hmm.
like make her grow to a young lady and make her grow to a woman. Because it was like, listen, um when you deal with those familiar, I call it the generational junk, like,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know, some things you walk into that's already, it was already trap set for me that I didn't even understand what I didn't understand. So
Ooh.
I was really just repeating history, and I didn't even understand it until I was in that thing. And thank God that he had a different purpose and plan for me, so I was
Mm.
able to fight and get out of it.
Yeah. Wow.
But just to also, say that I really became a Christian, because it was times where I was like, Lord, I thought I did everything right. You know what I'm saying? Like, even
Mm.
bringing children into that situation was like, wow, man, I was a good girl, and this the husband I ended up with, Lord. Like, come on, Jesus, did you
Mm.
forsake me? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Wow.
and he was like, no, like, you did this. I told you to sit down and be patient, and you was like, this was a notch in the belt, and that was hard to hear, because of the fact that when you are called, like, like you and I, and you are called to do much. I had did so much in my young life that it was like that was the one thing that I didn't have.
Mm.
And God was like, you
Okay.
could have bought you another pair of shoes, sis. You ain't have to, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it was like, so counseling was one. I
Mm.
had to pray for God to surround me with a community that understood what I was going through, to
Yes.
help heal me, so that I could be transparent enough so that I could call a thing,
Yes.
and really stand in that truth to deal with the pain. Because a lot of times people don't know, what you stuff inside of you, it has to come out. It
Yep.
will come, and you want it to be on your own terms instead of it violently coming out. Because when you
Right.
when you do it on your own terms, you can deal with it, you can heal it, and you can unpack it slowly. But when a thing comes bursting out and you hold it in and you hold it in, it comes out volcanic, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's gonna bleed on a lot of things, it's gonna
Mm-hmm.
burn down a lot of things,
Mm-hmm.
and it's gonna be more for you to clean up.
Yes. Ooh. Ooh. My job. I hope y'all caught that one. Oh, I hope y'all. That was so good to me. Oh, if we don't unpack it on our own terms, it will erupt. It will come out volcanic. Like, oh my God. And then it's going to be more for you to clean up. I hope y'all heard.
And some things are going to be beyond repair, because they'll be scorched to death, and that's what you don't want. that's
Okay,
that's the
that's
thing
it.
you don't want.
I'm done. That's it. Wave the flag. That's
That's what
it.
you don't want. You want to be able to go back and get your stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh.
You want to, because it's all God has given and created for you is for a purpose. So you don't want it to completely burn to the ground. You want to be able to enjoy it. So if anybody under the sound of my voice can just wait on it, says love you. If they always do those challenges, like, if you could go back and tell your younger self anything, I would have tell her to run like it's bullets coming for your ankles out the gun. Run to your purpose. Everything
Wow.
else that you want to have will be on the other side of you fulfilling your purpose. So if you feel like, oh, I've had success, but I don't have a man, or oh, I've had success, but I want a husband, listen, let me tell you, don't just pick up anybody while you on a journey, because I'm gonna tell you, to some, I felt this in my spirit right now for somebody.
Mm.
The perfectly ordained husband that God has for you is in a different tax bracket. So you got to get your papers, sis, because you be picking up these gym shoe hustlers down here on this lower level, and God said, I just had you passing by here. Your man already got the table prepared for you. He got the candlelight dinner and the rose petals. He waiting for you to pull up to the right restaurant and sit at this table.
Wow. You came ready. You came swinging. That's all I'm gonna
You
say.
know,
You came swinging. I'm trying to behave. I'm starting to feel a little ways. You see, I'm, woo-wee. And y'all know, usually I'm not this quiet. Honey, honey. Yeah, let's breathe that one in. Breathe that one in. Breathe that one in. Coach. Oh my
yeah.
God. So, oh wow. So the three things you did. Oh, this is good to me. The three things you did was you faced self, you got help, got it, therapy, a support group, and you said lastly the third thing that you did was pursue your purpose. Those are the three top things that you did that helped you to get out of that and to get to the other side. So, Coach Alonda, when it comes to this whole becoming journey, and as you would say, leap into your becoming, right? As it
Hmm.
as it comes, um, to that, what are like the top two things that you notice in working with people that may be a block or a hindrance in terms of them being able to leap into that becoming, to get that thing really, really going?
Feeling like they need man to validate their purpose. God, your purpose came from God, not from man. They feel like they need the cosign. Like, you don't need anybody to cosign. If you want to wear purple hair, wear purple hair. And I feel like a lot of times people are chasing, they're measuring happiness. And for me, I chase joy. Joy is an anchor. Happiness is fleeting. It's moment for moment. Joy never leaves you.
I ain't doing this with you today. Go ahead. I'm
So
not doing this with you today.
I feel like people are scared to take the leap because they haven't really,
Ooh.
they're always looking for happiness. And joy takes time to build. It's like the roots of an oak tree. They
Mm,
go down in the ground so far and so deep, but it takes
mm,
time to be rooted. So
mm,
you have to continue to build. And the only true joy is going to be rooted in Christ
mm.
and in your purpose.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, oh, that makes me happy. Like, they let their highs be too high and their lows be too low.
Say that one more time.
They let their highs be too high and their lows be too low. It's like you can't, when you chase happiness, it's like drinking a Red Bull. You got to come down eventually, and you're going to crash when you do. So then you're never going to find joy because you're not putting in that long call work. You just looking for the next thing that's going to make you happy for 5 minutes. So you put something else sugary, you put something else glittery in your life, and you're like, ooh, oh, I got the shiver and I got the shake. No, give me the weighted blanket. Give me something with some weight on it.
Woo!
Give me the mashed potatoes. Give me the long haul. Give me something that is rooted, something
Oh,
that is going to stick. That's what I
wow.
need. And stop knowing that this is the thing. Happiness and joy are your responsibilities.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Say
Nobody can
that.
water your garden for you.
Say that.
So where you're looking for the cosign, it's never going to work because the thing is, your happiness and your joy is your responsibility.
Absolutely. Not only is the cosign never gonna work, but how about this? The cosign will never come. Newsflash, they don't like you anyway.
That
Newsflash,
part.
they secretly compete with you anyway. Newsflash, they low key jealous of you anyway. Newsflash, they low key envious of you anyway. Newsflash, you are the topic of their discussion. Newsflash, they gossip every chance that they get. Listen, you never gonna get it anyway. And if
That's why it's
nothing
better to be
else,
peculiar. It's better to be peculiar than popular. I tell
that
people all the time, put me where the weird people are. Cause one thing about a weird person, right? They're comfortable being weird. It's everybody else is not comfortable with them being weird. Put me where the peculiar people are at.
period. Period. That, oh, that
Cause
was
people
ooh.
that are peculiar, they got joy. Cause they like,
Yes.
you know what? I know that I'm different, unapologetically, and I'm cool with that. Whatever the problem that you find with it is, that's your responsibility. That's yours to carry because I'm cool over here in my peculiarness. And
Yes.
I've always been that way. Like I'm always the different friend. I'm always the like literally when I was 16, I went to my mom, like, check this out, mom. Like I was 15 actually. I said, check this out, mom. High school ain't for me. She was like, huh? I'm like, high school is not for me. Like I can tell you, like, I've always known that I was called to do more. And even when I tried to fit in, God was like, that ain't what I had for you. It ain't gonna work. It never
That part.
worked. It never worked.
Oh my gosh, this is so good. This is so good. That is something that I have struggled with my whole entire life, wanting to be normal, wanting to just fit in, wanting people to understand me, like me, and accept me. And like you said, never works. Never, ever, 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 ever works. And I would go through, because y'all know on this podcast, real, raw, and uncut, we are totally transparent. I got levels of healing, in terms of that, and would get better over the years. And, got to a place where I'm like, God, finally, all right, cool, I got it, right? Like, it's good. Only to find out that you're still basing decisions off of trying not to ruffle people's feathers. So you ain't all the way got it yet. You're
Yeah.
trying to make decisions based off of these things that are connected to the opinions and the thought process of man. And it's like, I just need you to understand that I've created you, and how you're going to maneuver through life and the way you're going to
Mm-hmm.
maneuver, how you're going to show up. Everything about you is unique, and that's okay.
Yes.
That's okay. So just embrace that. Your path is just that. Your path is no one else's.
Yeah, because new
And
levels,
we,
when you go to new levels of success, it gets a little tricky and you do have to recalibrate. Like, new levels, new devils. Like that is real, real, real. Like you can be healed from a thing and you could be grounded and rooted, but it's like when you start to elevate,
hmm
they look a little more friendlier. Like, oh, they look a little more accepting. Like, oh, I love you. Like, you just so talented. You're so this, you're so that. But then, like, okay, let us come over here and mentor you and let us groom you to be like us, though.
oh, girl, stop it. I'm not doing this with you today.
Let's just turn
Oh
you down a
my God.
little bit,
And
like
but
maybe
look,
a half a
and let you
decibel.
not, but let you repel that, because I've been in situations like that. And
Mm-hmm.
the minute when you recognize that that's what's happening, and you be like, wait a minute. But I don't, and it's so funny because for me, and I know you're gonna share about for you, but for me, I as much as I would struggle with that, when I would realize that's happening, I would still buck against it because it didn't feel right. I still would be like uncomfortable, like, nah, that's not me though. So it's weird. It's like, although I wanted to be able to be okay with people, I still always still wanted to be me though. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It's like an awkward place to be.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? That's so
It
good.
is. I think that too. I think, as you age, I think like for women especially, I feel like
Mhm.
when you become of a certain age, I feel like your conscience gets different about what matters. And so you give yourself permission to just be unapologetically like I just had a birthday and I'm like, listen,
Th-
this is the take me out.
that-
Listen, Mary was on it something when she said take me as I am. She knew something.
okay, same. my theme was confidently embracing all of me or celebrating all of me. Because I
Hmm.
said, this right here, that little bit that's left, that's the end. No more of that going forward.
And when you're called to do a lot, let me say this. I tell my kids this too. When you walk in a certain anointing, I'm not comparing myself to Jesus, but I'm just gonna use Jesus as a visual. He had 12 disciples, but he often walked alone. Like you gonna have some people, but just know that the inner court that you see some people have, God made you different. And so the support that you think that you need from others, God like, nah, you don't really need that.
Mm,
You a movement by yourself, and it's okay. Some people want they said they think that's cocky, they like, oh, it's arrogant. Nah, I'm like, take that up with God. Cause I ain't make myself. And I'm
that's
okay
so
with that. So
good.
I go back to what you said when you disappear off the scene, I recharge.
Yeah, facts, facts. And
And
I
my
and I
core
love
people, they
it.
understand that. They
Mm-hmm.
understand that they're, even if they can't pinpoint what it is my exact calling is or my exact anointing is, they know that I give much. So it's like when I'm down, my battery's down, I go and recharge, because in order for you to show up,
That
in
part,
order for you to continue to be called to the peculiar, God has to have you to himself sometimes. Just like when Jesus went up in the mountain for 40 days and 40 nights, he had to go up in the wilderness to recharge. It was only somebody that had to go to God to talk to get specific instructions for what. And this man came to say the whole world. Come on now.
that part, that part. I
God was like, girl,
always,
I need you to myself for a minute, because you got
yes,
a heavy calling on you.
that part, that part. And for a long time, I thought, you know, that, oh, you got to serve through it. You got to show up through it. You got to everything through it. You got to do this through it, through it, through it, through it, through it. And I'm so glad that, I go on my journeys and my ebbs and flows and commit to it, because had I not, God would have never been able to dismantle that for me and to show me how imbalanced and in error that thinking was. And when he called me to that sabbatical, September 2019, after that Trailblazer conference, it literally shifted and changed everything for me. I didn't know just how much it was going to change. My life has drastically, completely shifted. So many things has been dismantled, including that which you just spoke about. And so now, it's like I don't care if people think, oh, where she at? She fell off. Or, oh, I take my journey and the ebbs and flows and that time, that self-care, that self-love, and that time to recharge so seriously, it don't make no sense. And I don't care what anybody got to say about it. So that what you just said is so real. And I think a lot of it stems from how we were groomed, especially those who are believers.
Yes.
That grooming of, oh, serve through your pain, that is so erroneous. I don't know where that came from. I don't
And
know
listen,
why.
that is not for everybody. That's also a purpose and a calling thing. That
Mhm.
everybody is not called to that. And that's a seasonal situation.
Situation.
That is
Come
not a
on,
lifetime situation. That is not a way of living. That I just, man, like you coming down my wheelhouse
bro.
now when I talk about self awareness and
Uh-huh.
accountability. Like,
Yes,
we need to cut that out. Like, telling people, like, some things are seasonal. You're not
that's
supposed to
right.
live your life in the grind and in pain. And I only know one person that two people in the Bible that was like, you know, that was they plot. Like, and
Right,
even that, it went the whole entire time. Like, come on,
right.
man. Like, no, we got to get away from that. And like, it's
Hmm.
okay to be not okay.
That's right. That's right. I, you know, the one of the things that I had learned about that, I didn't recognize how tired I was
That part.
until I took that sabbatical, to the point where the people around me at for the first 3 months of my sabbatical thought I was depressed because that's how much I slept. But I have been ripping and running and going and grinding and doing so much that I did not recognize the wear and tear that I was putting on myself
Yeah.
at all. At all. It is so important for us to understand, like Coach Alonda just said, like, that ain't for everybody. That ain't everybody's calling. That ain't everybody's, and then like she also said, it's depending on what it is, it could be certain seasons and stuff like that. But you know, I'll say this, for those who have, manipulated and imparted that, because I believe that's where it came from, it was a form of manipulation to get people who are in leadership positions to 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 sacrifice their whole life, not have a life. I need you to be here
Hmm.
doing everything, doing the stuff I don't want to do, doing it, and to me it was a form of manipulation, but I'm just so grateful that that is one of the things that got broken off me very quickly. That was like one of the first things that goes like, that's erroneous. That's not even what it is. And it's
Yeah.
funny because you brought it up, but that's how God gave it to me. He said, "You don't see how many times I dipped away? I showed you the
Hmm.
importance of balance and self care, even in my own work. So why would you believe them when they say like you're not supposed to rest? Why would you believe culture and society to make you feel like as a small business owner, you gotta keep going, keep going? It's like it was nonstop. And he like, what are
Yeah.
you chasing? My timeline for you is my timeline for you. So you can
Facts.
wear yourself out with this. That's why I tell people now I believe in flow. What's hustle?
You wear
I'm
yourself to
allergic
an
to
early
that.
grave and be like, Lord, heal me. He was
Listen,
like, listen, just like the marriage. You wear yourself to an early grave and be like, Lord, heal me, heal me, heal me. He like, but I showed you a whole nother plan. We didn't even have to be here. This was not the
yes.
prayer that I had predicted for you to have on the list.
See that thing right there. Ooh.
And you right. I grew up in a very prominent black church, and I saw people that I wanted to like. I was like, oh, I look up to you, and I've seen them lose things because of that manipulation of you gotta just keep pressing through. You gotta keep
Hmm.
pressing through. You just gotta just hold on. No, 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 no. God can't flow to you if he can't flow through you.
Through you, period.
Open that hand up and be like, I'm gonna put this down right here. Yep.
It takes more strength and more integrity to do that than it does. And not saying that when we did that, we didn't have integrity, because of course we were groomed that that's what we were supposed to do. But
Hmm.
it takes more self-awareness, more integrity for the things in which you're doing, whether it's business, ministerial, whatever, to say, you know what, no, I'm not okay. And it's okay not to be okay. And I'm going to put this down right here. I just need to go
Yeah.
ahead and put this down. And I need to just go on and have my time. And then I can come back to it. And that's okay. You know, and that way we're not continuing a cycle and bleeding out on others and all that stuff that comes with not taking the time to process and not taking that time to recharge. That is so powerful. Coach Alonda, go ahead.
I noticed too, like, and when you know that if you pay attention, when you get that call or you get that inkling to let go of something, even you and I had talked before, when I got that inkling to come off of my job, like, because you answered the call to go into hiatus, I was like, oh yeah, like, I know people that's doing this now. Like, this is the thing. And so, but it was crazy because before I even got to that season, I had already spoke it when I started the season. I said, in 5 years' time, I will be off this job. And like you said, you don't know how hard you go in that season of grind. Like, I was like 3 months. Listen, I was right there with you. I was like, Lord, like, what did I do to myself?
For real.
And when you know that it's a calling, you'll see like all the peculiar people, like all of the same people that's called like you or similar to you, y'all will
Yep.
all be going in domino effect. Like, oh
Yep.
yeah, they needed a break too. Okay, yeah. Because like even towards the end of this last year, a lot of people that were called to leadership was like, yo, I just don't feel okay. Like, I'm tired, I'm exhausted. Like, it's a shift. It was a shift.
Yes.
It was
Yes.
a shift. It was like literally you were so exhausted, because I literally want to think of it like God was pulling the toxins, our old things. Like, we shed it.
Mhm.
We were ready to put it down, but it was like, now I'm gonna pull this thing off of you. I'm gonna detox it completely out of you, because I want to make sure you don't go back to this thing. I want to make sure that it doesn't reignite in you and refester, and you be like, yeah, I'm gonna kind of go back to this because I'm used to it. God was like, no, it is finished. It is
Period.
done.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you, I couldn't go back to it if I wanted to. Honey, the thought of it exhausts me. I was like, nah, that's okay. I just,
It will
I
probably
just,
take you out. It's just like when a person be sober for a long time and they relapse, and that one time after all them years, there'd be that one time they take them out forever. You be like, "Dad,
see,
you was a crackhead for 10 years, and then you was sober for 5, and you hit it one time. You would have thought that your body would be able to take it." God was like, "Didn't I tell you put it down? All right,
woo,
meet me in the corridor. You coming up yonder now." That's where I
woo.
was like, "Listen, you ain't got to never tell me to You say I ain't touching it."
Listen, that part. Wow. Coach, I want you in this moment to speak to the listeners, those who are on their journey, leaping on their path of becoming. What is your word of encouragement for them? What do you feel like they need to hear right now in order to stay the journey, continue the journey, and even for some, start the journey?
If you're starting, um, don't worry about what it looks like. Just keep walking. Everything that you don't have, the reasons why you're gonna try to let the enemy trick you out of your spot. Believe me, if you learn nothing from my life, if you learn nothing from my walk, I promise you God will meet you there. I promise you he will send somebody with everything that you feel like is the reason why you can't. He will send, if you like, I don't know how I'm gonna make rent, somebody will pay it. It'll be a resource that'll come along. I promise you. I have lived in crazy faith. Like, God was like, start a salon. I ain't had the money in the bank, but guess what? He provided the means, and overnight I had $20,000. Like, it just, you just gotta start walking. He will meet you with
Mm,
everything you need on that journey. If you are already in the journey, you like, it's getting a little rough, it's getting tumultuous out here, Lord, and I want to turn back. Don't. Keep running. Do it scared. I promise you, because somebody is waiting on you to leap into your becoming and live your purpose. You got jobs. You're going to employ people. You're going to set people free, because they're going to be the first in their bloodline to do things and to be great because you're great.
mm,
If he told you to start that TV show and you like, I don't know nothing about TV, invest in yourself. I don't care if your small investment starts with $5. He'll grow your $5, he'll multiply it, and the next month you could do 10. And then the next month you'll be able to do 15, until you'll be investing $10,000, $20,000 in yourself. And he will
mm.
meet you at your point of need.
Yes.
He will send the resources. You just gotta believe he already knows how this is gonna shake out for you. So why would you not trust somebody who already knows how it's gonna go for you, and stay in fear with you and you don't know? Don't none
Mm.
of us know. You know that old song that says, "Run on and see what the end gonna be."
Gonna
I'm trying to
be-
run and see what the end gonna be, even if it
yeah.
means I might fall off the end of the earth. I just got faith that I'm gonna keep running in that circle. I'm gonna go around. It's gonna dip around, and it's gonna dip around again for me again. And if you at the end, you like, what's next? You like, okay, I mastered that. I've completed it. Guess what? Seek his face, because it's more. It's more to do. It's harder now. Let's go harder. Let's go harder. Look back at how far you've come and pat yourself on the back. Cheer for yourself and go back and get some more. Now I want you to apply the plus one theory. Now bring somebody else where you are and run faster. Run to your next goal.
Listen, Coach Alana, tell us what you have coming up. That was so powerful. Tell
So
the
I am
people
doing
what
a
you got going on.
I'm doing an anthology, my publishing company and my company, Women CEOs Rock, because I'm so passionate about women in business and just, us being single moms and, even if you were married, my partner is married. She's been married for 20 years. She's a mompreneur as well. So we have offer both of those dynamics. We're doing an anthology project right now for mompreneurs. So we're
Mm.
taking people now for volume 2. So definitely also get in on the directory. If you're a woman in business or entrepreneur, go to womenceosrock.com to join our directory, and maybe you could be an expert speaker, and it's a good way to get exposure for your brand. But that's what I'm doing right now. Going into season 3 of I Am Becoming, my podcast, and I am launching I Must Become TV network. So I'm super
Ooh.
excited about that. Um, so we're crossing over to TV and media streaming. I'm so excited about that because I want to reach more people. My young ambassadors, I have a mentorship group called Creative Young Nation. We are starting our own magazine so the young people can write, and they listen. God has me over some of the dopest young people in the world. Like I'm partial, but I'm just saying this next generation, honey, is about to be off the chain. These talented groups of people, man, I'm like, God, I know what you did for me, but they like the 5.0.
I love it. I love
So
it.
So yeah, we're getting ready to do. We're gonna do Creative Young Nation Camp, where we're teaching young creatives how to walk in their purpose, and to stay grounded in their faith. So that's coming up this summer. Listen, it's so many amazing things that God is doing. And
Absolutely.
I'm just grateful that He chose me to
Mm.
flow through. To do it. But I just want to tell y'all, my last thing that I want to leave you with as far as encouragement: don't do anything for man's approval, but do everything with man in mind, because we are all an intricate piece of this puzzle in this circle called life. So what you do affects me in some way, even if you can't see it. So make sure that you're
Mm.
showing up as your best, as I'm going to do for you, because I know that what I do may affect you or something in your legacy or your bloodline. But just make sure you run. I promise you, y'all, it's better to run and say you have ran than to stay stagnant and never do it.
Ooh, that was so good. Listen, y'all know I'm gonna leave all of the links and stuff in the show description and in the details so that you guys can connect with Coach Alonda and the things that she has going on. You know, I'm not gonna leave you hanging. I'm gonna take care of you because I know that's a lot to remember. So I'll always have the links and everything in the details. I got your back. And remember that you must always have to outlive your past in order for you to live in your future, right? I love y'all so much. This has been an amazing Birth Her podcast moment, and I will see you next season. We will be taking a break, so it's going to be a little minute, but you'll know when we come back, all right? I love y'all to life. Have an amazing, amazing weekend. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Birth Her the podcast with Robin Robbins, the midwife. Don't forget to connect on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Robin D. Robbins. Important links for this episode can be found in the description. Until next time, share this podcast with a friend. Blessings and much love, beautiful soul.